welcome back, Summonerinos. We're going to dive a bit deeper into that win for Fnatic. A very impressive win it was. And did you guys see from Picks and Bans on that this was going to be a clear-cut victory from Fnatic, or what did you make of the comps?
Well, I mean, after the game, and I think also before the game, I think we can agree leaving Twitch open to Reckless, probably not the best idea. I think KottenX Wolves felt forced to ban Nidalee because Yasuo was being banned away. Normally, Yasuo is the counter to Nidalee. But still, it's not worth it when you leave Twitch open, you saw Fnatic instant lock it, and when you can't even punish him in the laning phase, there's nothing you can do. Fnatic just took full control and Reckless just destroyed everything.
Yeah, I think they had a bit of a painful champion select overall because Kha'Zix has to go in there on that red side ban. We've seen that the Wolves have constantly banned out Nidalee, even without the Yasuo gone as well. But with the Yasuo ban, they were definitely forced to do that, and then your pickings are kind of slim when you go from that. That was already the first blow of the game, I think, for the Wolves.
And then going into the game itself, Copenhagen Wolves early game, maybe lacking in some aspects.
Maybe.
I mean, careful.
I mean, yesterday they played SK Gaming. It was the same story. They lost early on. There was a lane swap they lost on, but still they lost the early game. Pretty much every single lane fell behind, and then it got destroyed in, I believe, 27 minutes or something. Fnatic here also just completely destroying Copenhagen Wolves. There's clearly some issues when it comes to the laning phase, and also when it comes to the matchups between the champions they play. For instance, in this game here, Unlimited, because he died to the first blood, yes, so he was under-leveled early game, but still he played way too aggressive in the laning phase. He kept engaging in. Whenever there was a chance for him to land his E, he would go in, even though there was a black shield from Yellowstar every time. He took a lot of damage for it. So on the very first gank from Airwax, and where Sana joins in as well, Unlimited is already really, really low because he took so much poke, so it's easy for Fnatic to turn it around and win the fight.
I think it's really scary, actually, from the Copenhagen Wolves side. If we look at the game that they won, they were actually behind from the laning phase in that one as well. In fact, there's only been one game where they were ahead in the laning phase. That was against Alliance, which, of course, Alliance hung on to and kind of slipped back into that one. And the fact is that if you are losing constantly early game, some teams might let that slip away. But we've already seen against two of the stronger teams here, SK and Fnatic, that they just walk straight over them in less than 30 minutes.
So that is actually something we've seen in the Spring Split as well. They would let those games go late game. So maybe a little bit of a cheeky question. How much is related to changing to players and having to build those up again? And how much may be related to the players that are still there and maybe can't level up accordingly?
Well, if you look at the Copenhagen Wolves lineup from last split, it was often early game, it was built all around Amazing. He had to do the plays, he had to set up the ganks. Now, of course, they have a new jungler. He still needs to get synergy with the team. He needs to feel how it is to play on the stage, how it is to play against all these teams here on the really serious and professional level. So, of course, he's going to need some time to have the same impact as Amazing had. That's going to be a big part in the early game, because if you look at the laners, Youngbuck and Kautot were never people to just win the lane by themselves. They would always rely on Amazing to come in, set up a gank. They wouldn't lose the lane, but they wouldn't win it. So now they have the issue here, if the jungler falls behind for them, the entire team just falls behind.
Yeah, and that's, as you said, just going to take time for them. It's not something that you can just have overnight there. You replace your jungler at such a key element, and especially in a team that plays like they do, like you said, with the solo laners, never really completely outplaying their opponent, but as you rightly pointed out as well, never really losing it. Very solid, but never kind of wavering from that level. It means that if you want to win, the jungler has to be involved, and clearly they've not quite got that down yet.
Yeah, and Fnatic looked really good, but we'll have to see what they can do versus Roccat later. As for now, though, we're about to head back to Demon and Quickshot to get into the next match. But first, Millennium's Kevin believes that they have identified their problems from the last split and explains why he feels that the team has a shot at Worlds.
I think the main reason why we weren't on top in the Spring Split, our rotations and our late game to finish out games was really bad because we kind of didn't know how to move. We just do a lot more theory, I think, which will help us to reach our goal. If we can fix that, then I see us going to a championship event.
Well, some big words. Millennium going to the World Championships. We'll see if it happens. Kevin, confident.
They've started pretty well. I think the games that we've seen from Millennium, it is a far stronger team than during the Spring Split.
Well, it is time for our third game of the day as Millennium will be taking on Gambit Gaming. During the spring split, Millennium were completely shut out by Gambit, losing all 4 matches against them. So they certainly have a tough task ahead of them, especially because their confidence might be shaken after the loss to the Copenhagen Wolves yesterday.
Yeah, so considering that Millennium had a very big lead, it was the Wolves that managed to bounce back and find perfect team fights to defeat Millennium. But like I said, you can't deny the fact that they were in a good position. They had a very real chance of winning the game. This is Millennium, of course. I'm still impressed by Millennium's individual play and from the whole team. I think their general level 1 strategies are good. Their laning phrase, macro strategy is locked down. Their swaps, their decision making. But unfortunately, their mid to late game decision is still shaky, and they're not the best at closing games out. I do want to give some props to Kevin just for more solid play throughout the first week of the summer split. Yesterday in Shyvana, he really did perform well. He ended 11-6-14 on the Dragon Lady, but it wasn't enough of a performance to help his team win.
Well, Gambit lost their match against Alliance earlier today, although they weren't defeated as badly as they were in their match against Roccat. However, they simply lost every major team fight, and their team composition had very little innate synergy.
Yeah, so from the pick and ban phase, it seemed very odd to me because Gambit put together a list of champions that needed a lot of time to scale, and they never really synergized 100%, nor were they given a chance to scale, because Alliance actually was very aggressive and constantly in their face. You have to highlight Darien. He first picked Jax. He was caught out of position. He ate far too many Dark Bindings. And every single time an objective was about to be contested by Alliance, it was Darien that was caught first. And that is what allowed the rest of Alliance to initiate on. So picks and bans needs to go better. Darien needs to be in better positions as well.
Well, let's see how this game goes. Let's check out the lineups for the 2 teams. On the blue side, it is Millennium. That means Kevin is in the top lane, KottenX in the jungle, Kerp in the mid lane, Creaton as AD carry, and Jree in support.
And on the red side, it is Gambit Gaming with Darien in the top lane, Diamond in the jungle, Nick in the mid lane with Genja as AD carry and Eduard as support.
So let's see which way this pick and ban phase goes. Jax was picked up early by Gambit in the last game. First pick locked in. 194, as you just pointed out. Didn't work out for Darien.
Jax is not an auto win. Twitch is. Both of the games today, the Twitch players have won.
100% win record so far.
I'm also not convinced. I'm still not very convinced by Graves. I like the theory behind Graves, but I'm not a massive fan of the champion. I would prefer to see something else. So for this game, I think Twitch has to be a priority, and then most likely mid-bans. I mean, Kassadin, maybe Yasuo is even a consideration there. We'll need to see if Nick wants to get his hands on Lulu again.
Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Picks and bans underway. Game 3, of course, between Gambit and Millennium. So Millennium on the blue side this time around will take that KO away from Nick. I don't think he's going to get to play that again, sadly, for him. He had a great game on it earlier yesterday. Thresh being taken away. Jree, big favorite for him, and Yasuo as well for Nick.
I don't think Eduard's playing Thresh anymore. I'm going to go out in the limb. 3 out of 4 Gambit games, they banned Thresh. And when you have a player like Eduard on your team, I find that very surprising.
He loves Gragas.
Of course, he's in love with the big man. He's doing great work with him. But I do want to highlight that it's not something we're seeing every other team doing. So it is a nose.
But it is absolutely a champion Jree plays. Twitch was banned out, so keeping that rhythm going. Pick or ban, to see how close that is to 100%. May well be on the mark. Kassadin taken away from Nick, and Jax is the final ban this time around. It leaves Elite open for KottenX.
Yes, but this is why you don't ban Kassadin as your first ban on red side. If you go towards the end, you open the opportunity to your opponents banning him out. Kassadin is not associated with blue side banning, and it's something that I like to see and I've been complaining about all weekend long. It's finally happening. I think teams need to cotton on to that fact. But I do want to highlight that Evelynn was a very quick lock-in for KottenX, considering Kha'Zix was up and available, and knowing that KottenX has played a couple other junglers, it's a lot of pressure on him on that champ.
Ooh, switches around. Will we go with the Yona? Will we see Eduard going for something other than Gragas? It's been hit and miss, honestly. He hasn't really had a chance to shine too heavily on it.
I actually think Eduard's performances have been solid, because every time I've seen it, there have been team fights where Eduard has saved his teammates by the disruption of the explosive cask. I have not seen it used super successfully in terms of a lot of aggressive engages, but there's been a lot of resets that have done well. So I quite like it as a disengaged champion. Leona is the exact opposite. Throw your solar flare, commit, find the kills, and that's what it looks like he wants to do.
Yeah, going for that one alongside Lucian, who continues to be 92.9% pick, 13 out of 14 so far. Crazy, crazy pick stats for Lucian. Kerp, what will he go with? I know a lot of people with him in the fantasy team now will be keeping their eyes on that one. It will be Leblanc. It is a heavy burst champion, and well, Kevin will be very happy the fact that he's got Irelia.
Comfortable pick. Kevin sticking to his bruises. I really like Kevin on bruises, and he tends to perform very solidly. Irelia play has been somewhat hit and miss this week. We've had some very good performances and some pretty average ones. But it also tells you that I think Kevin's going to be more focused on the team this time around. Yesterday when he played Shyvana, he was a little more split push heavy. He was trying to focus down the side lanes and get control of the map against the Copenhagen Wolves. With Irelia, she can still do that, of course, but I get the instincts of the feelings that he wants to be a little more with his team.
Syndra currently being considered. Of course, Nidalee is available if you wanted to go with it. Didn't work out well for him in game 1 of the Super Week for Gambit. Trundle being the second consideration for Darien in that top lane. Syndra will get locked in. I believe this is the first Syndra of the European Summer Split.
It is. And it's another new champion for Nick. Another, champion we haven't seen him perform on. We need to see how it works. If you look at the comp, you've got a lot of multi-target stuns. Solar Flare can lock people up for a long time. The possibility for Syndra to use Scatter the Weak and lock people up for a long time. That could be 2-3-man stuns over and over. And if you layer those with a Trundle pillar, it just makes landing those skill shots even easier. So I quite like the combination. You've got burst damage, you've got disengage, you've got engage. So Gambit are putting together a much more balanced team comp than they did previously. And Jree toying with his signature Blitzcrank. He's flicking between it often, but I don't think he'll get locked.
Yeah, big smile on his face. Not going to happen though. Instead, it will be that Morgana lock-in, one of the most popular supports, I think it's safe to say, throughout the Summer Super Week so far. Graves again, as you mentioned, being considered, and it will get locked in. Graves, very popular among the AD carries.
We haven't seen Jinx, so Jinx has moved away. Lucian was taken off the table, and it feels like teams have moved away from Caitlyn. We've not seen a lot of Caitlyn. I believe Genja played one game of her earlier, but in contrast to the Spring Split, Caitlyn is nowhere near on the roadmap. The final lock-in was Diamond's Kha'Zix. He was hovering over that early on, but I think for Millennium, they've got somewhat of a disjointed composition here. Irelia, Leblanc, Eve, they do want to jump in your face, they do want to blow you up, and there's Morgana there for peel if anybody jumps onto Creaton. But because Creaton is such short range, he needs to get past a Trundle pillar, past Kha'Zix, past Syndra, and past Leona if he wants to get any damage on the squishy. So it's going to be interesting to see how these team fights play out. A lot of pressure on Kerp and KottenX to find kills and to come in from the side and blow up Diamond when he doesn't have the damage reduction in his ultimate form, and ideally pushing Syndra out as well.
There are the teams. We'll see how it works out for them. Millennium facing off against Gambit. What do you make of it overall?
I prefer the balance of Gambit's team composition. I think they can do more things, and on the assumption Nick is landing his Scatter the Weaks and blowing people up with Unleashed Power, his performance will hinge whether they win the team fights, but they sure as hell have the tools to do it.
Well, playing Syndra, everything hinges on you, that's for sure. Let's take a look once more at your votes on lolesports.com, where you've picked Gambit, 56%. That's definitely a lot closer than you would have thought it would be, because Millennium have put in some good numbers so far in the Super Week.
And of course, the way Gambit just got manhandled by Alliance earlier in the day, that's definitely going to waver viewer confidence. Yeah, Gambit got a couple of objectives on the board, but they were bullied. They didn't win a solid team fight at all. And they had a lot of champions that had a lot of damage. For this game, I actually think they have all of the answers to deal with Millennium. But they need to make it work. They need to land those Solar Flares, they need to land those Scatter the Weaks. As long as they make it work, I think they can beat Millennium.
Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Game 3 of Super Weeks Day 3. In the European LCS studios, live in Cologne, Germany. Millennium, can they go 3-1 in Super Week? It would be a dream start for them, I feel, as the blue team up against Gambit, who could, despite their early and somewhat problematic issues, could go 2-2 this week.
Could. I mean, they've got this game to prove themselves. There have been way more questions asked after seeing them perform than previous games. I don't want to touch on the fact Millennium have not run with the Scrying Orb, which they have done in 2 of the games. Kevin has gone for the blue trinket, gone for the early vision, and then gone for the invade. But at the moment, defensive start from Gambit. If a Dark Binding connects, maybe Diamond's in trouble, but I don't think it will.
It's a quick early ward as well in their own red buff. They see Diamond. They know the fact that Gambit haven't gone towards their own red buff right now. They will put the ward down. Actually, there's a double ward placed down there, up around the top red and in the bush, and they've got full vision. They're going to back off.
So that's very reminiscent of what Fnatic did. They got some vision down, and then they were able to continue moving around their opponent's jungle and find kills also with Dark Binding. With Morgana Dark Bindings. This time, Millennium have played it safe. They just want the information. They want the knowledge of where Diamond is. And they did see him walk through their red buff. I believe he walked over the ward. It does look like Diamond's backed out, though.
Yeah, he did walk around there. Got himself a ward down in towards there and immediately backed out. So, it looks like it will be some fairly even starts. You can see both duo lanes heading down towards the bottom. It will be a top 1v1 up there. So, standard meta starts from both of these teams.
Yeah, standard starts. Part of the reason that Graves is picked into Lucian is because he can't trade with him in lane. Thanks to the tankiness of Graves and the buckshot damage early on, he can actually do pretty well. But he does just need to be a little careful of being caught by Leona. The poke and the burst damage is quite hard. And in terms of the Irelia versus Trundle matchup, as long as Kevin maintains control of his mana, he's got a little more damage and a little more on-hit sustain, whereas Trundle will be relying on those minions dying to get HP back with his passive.
Eddie trying to land that shield on them, trying to get the explosion down, but Jree instead, with that Spell Thief's Edge, will get some poke on towards Eduard. Keep that gold stacking in his favor. Pokes continuing. Eddie again, just on that level 1, desperately trying to get that shield onto Jree, but he's not falling for it, steps away, and Creaton actually putting some good damage down on Genja, despite the fact Genja starting with the early CS lead.
Yeah, it's a non-traditional level 1 start in that Leona for the Eclipse. Doesn't get caught by Dark Binding, that's a lot of damage.
Early level 2, of course, we see KottenX coming around the side. Eddie's gone deep on this one, may have to flash away, has got Ignite available himself. Jree's going to come in towards it, puts some more damage down, but the Dark Binding, was not available because he used it at the start of the fight.
Yeah, and of course, KottenX was quite smart there. He could have flashed to try stick to Eduard, but because Dark Binding wouldn't root Eddie in place, Eddie could just counter flash himself. So as opposed to wasting the summoner spell, backed away, played that one safe. If Kerp goes aggro on Nick, he's going to take some damage.
Quickly distorts away. Straight away, he got stunned up. It's not going to be enough though. We'll step away from that one. Diamond instead will take a little bit of lane tech.
I actually think that's a positive sign, seeing Nick line up his Scatter the Weak, because you can predict when Kerp is going to go back to that distortion. The moment he returns to his original, jumping point, you can lock him up. Now, Diamond with some support of Darien is going to be counter-jungling away the Wolf Camp. Blue buff was obviously taken away, but it will give Gambit time on it, as they've revealed the objective on Vision. So once it respawns, I'll be well aware of it being hunted down. And Darien, happy to farm, happy to counter-jungle rather, instead of staying in lane against Kevin.
Yeah, using the buddy system, happy to let the minion wave be pushed in. Kevin instead, keeping that lane frozen in the mid, may actually find himself in a little touch of trouble here. Ping goes down as they step straight on top of Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin had full vision of that one. Into this time around, eating a few more of those Dark Bindings if he wants to. A very big minion wave under the tower. Actually bombing them up very effectively there. He just missed 1 or 2 of those CS. But the poke and the punishment is definitely in favor of Millennium. It is what you expect with that Leona. Kerp sidestep.
Oh, nice sidestep there. KottenX is going to come in. Good stun down on towards him. Flashes away. The Ignite down. First blood comes in. It's KottenX that takes it.
I retract the sidestep. It was the Scatter the Weak. Because of Kerp jumping forward, it wasn't the ball that connected with Kerp to stun him up. Diamond, he wants KottenX.
He's going to try and jump in. He's gone deep. He's got a wave of minions. He may pay the price. He's going to get stunned up. The minions alone will do the damage. And Kerp picks himself up a kill for himself.
I don't think that's worth it because of the fact that Kerp now has red buff. Kerp has got a kill in reply to Diamond's kill, which just means Kerp has the additional gold and the additional buff to deal with Nick. So Kerp now has a level 1. He's got a Phoenix Codex picked up. He's going to return to lane and make Nick's life so incredibly difficult. That Scatter the Weak actually pushed Kerp just out of range of that ball to prevent him being stunned and allowed him to continue the chase and actually get that kill and assist on the board.
So, AD carries have actually both backed off. You can see double Dorans for Genja, who's now back in lane, getting that farm continuing to go. Creaton went for the Vampiric Scepter, so had that touch more gold as he went back. Kerp back in lane as well, got himself the book. It is the Fiendish Codex, of course. Oh, I was just wondering if he was going to maybe go aggressive on Nick, having a little look towards it, that's for sure. Nick's going to have to be a little bit more careful now. Got himself a double Doran's ring, but you can see the burst damage already that Fiendish Codex is doing on Nick.
And every time Kerp goes in for those trades, he's going to have that on-hit slow and the true damage from the red buff. I mean, it's such a good position for Kerp to be in, but he's got a window of opportunity to make it work. Now Diamond is moving to gank in this bottom lane, and we'll see if he can go in. Eddie already went in actually, so CC.
Yeah, that was a really bad gank, honestly. Eddie pulled the trigger a little too early, so maybe saw the opportunity for it.
Diamond's ganks thus far have been a little awkward. You know, he's very early one in the mid lane, the jump was a bit off. This particular event, it was mistimed. Edward and Genja went in, I think, before Diamond was even in range, so that's probably a miscommunication call or a miscommunication problem. But they need to sort that out.
And it's an interesting problem because I still actually don't know who makes the calls in that team. Whether it was Alex, maybe, who knows? Whether Diamond is now making the calls. Whether basically every's
Darien's going to be calling help me right now.
I don't think Darien calls that. I think he just dies. It's a possibility. Is he going to get away? The ultimate's not there! And Darien again, with that ultimate run-in, just strolls on out of there. Kevin had only just got his ultimate, sorry. Oh, Jree, Black Shield is going to stop Eddie in his tracks.
Very important, the flash and the subjugate gave him the armor and MR as well as the HP regen to survive that particular little gank, but now he's got no flash. So if KottenX can come in behind Darien again, that will result in a death. It's something that Darien has suffered a few times already. Both mid laners have secured their blue buffs. And straight up lanes, nobody's touched the tower yet. KottenX's ganks have been significantly more effective than Diamond's. And the first roam towards this top lane or the red buff looks to be in play.
Yeah, they know that Diamond is around there. He's just taken away those wraiths on a ward. Kevin and KottenX looking to go towards him. KottenX comes around the back, Diamond in all sorts of trouble. He's going to have to try and pounce his way out of this one. Is it going to be enough? The slowdown, the stun is there. Kevin gets himself an easy kill.
Just straight up roaming. I mean, that's purely Kevin and KottenX being confident. They had some vision in the jungle, of course, so they were moving in, getting some wards down. They're going to steal the red buff away. The timing was so good. Millennium with a strong early start, and again, just showing that they are arguably the most prepared team for the summer split next to Alliance.
Yeah, absolutely. Millennium put a lot of work in. KottenX, of course, joining them at the end of that spring split, kept them in there after an arduous 3-2 promotion series. Creaton continuing that bookshot. Creaton with a new lease of life, I feel, in coming in towards this summer split as well. We heard him yesterday, how confident he seemed to be in his gameplay, how he's played more solo queue than ever before.
And I wonder what it is. You know, it's one of those things that sometimes it's just a trigger. You know, sometimes it's just how it works out. But regardless, Creaton is playing very well. He went unkilled in his first game of Super Week. Had some very good stats during the course of yesterday, holding even in this Lucian versus Leona lane. But now all of a sudden, Eduard and Genja have the tools to play with. There's a solar flare up for Eddie if he wants to go in. There's the culling for Genja.
He's going to get it away from hitting those minions. So Creaton didn't take a great burst of damage. He has got that collateral damage of his own available. And we saw the burst power of that yesterday with Woolite running Graves. Kerp is coming down. This is danger signs for Genja and Eduard.
Oh, it definitely is, especially as he ate the binding.
Dark Binding lands. There's going to be the ulti not doing enough. Eddie flashed out, just good timing there. Has he got enough burst on Genja? No, not even close.
So Kerp has roamed about 3 or 4 times over the last 4 minutes, has not actually been able to find anything, but he's not falling too far behind in CS. It's only this wave that has now technically been lost to him. It will be picked up by KottenX, maybe the last little stragglers secured by Kerp. But Kerp is really trying to make something happen. Eduard does have Solar Flare, So if he gets engaged upon, Diamond's going to counter. Diamond stealth.
Stealths in, gets on towards Jree, pounces back in there. That black shield's not going to be enough, I feel. And Genja will pick himself up the kill.
Yeah, gets the last auto attack. No support from Eduard, unfortunately. Doesn't manage to get the assist on that trade. But at the end of the day, it is a kill going the way of Gambit. So well executed, well played.
And that's the first sign of life, really, that Gambit have shown to try and get themselves on the board, of course. It's been Diamond that's been involved in both of them. Lost his life twice, though, already in that kill and assist. KottenX taking advantage, knows that Diamond's not there, comes in, steals the Wolf.
I also want to highlight, if you look at the top lane, Darien has used his subjugate, it's on cooldown. Kevin has used his ultimate as well, and it appears as though Darien was pushed all the way back. So Kevin is probably playing quite aggressive. I think we should keep our eyes on this and see how it works out. KottenX is going to come behind Nick.
It was bait from Kerp, and Nick's in trouble. Ignites down on him, he drops. It's Kerp that gets the kill.
Back in bait. I mean, that's it. Pull forward. KottenX with another successful gank, and exactly like we talked about, Kevin is getting in Darien's face every single time. With his Sheen in his phage, he teleported back to lane. The thing is, Kevin's behind on CS. Probably could attribute it to the kill that was picked up onto Diamond when they invaded, and he left his lane for a little while. For the time being, he's going to make up. Genja again, just a lot of good damage.
Nice play, dashes out of that dark binding, and instead puts the culling back down on towards him to try and put some hurt on towards that support. Creaton coming in there, and the aggression from Gambit seemingly fairly strong. They've got to be careful they don't go too far with KottenX roaming above them.
There's no Agony's Embrace, so it's all on Jree. If a Dark Binding or Soul Shackles doesn't lock him up, it's not going to work.
Soul Shackles will lock him up, Dark Binding will follow. Eddie's going to be the focus. Solar Flare turns back around here. You can see Diamond trying to join in. Darien gets that Pillar of Ice down in place. And Diamond pounces in. Jree will be the only one that goes down. He can't quite get Eddie in the process. That shield just enough to save his life.
That was actually quite good from Gambit, because not only does it get them a kill, it does open up the Dragon. They should lose their top tower, though. It does look like Kevin's going to shove that one out. Unfortunately for Millennium, they didn't take into account the teleport. And we see just how tanky Eduard was. With the Eclipse on, he instantly got... oh, here comes Kerp.
This is not a done deal yet. KottenX comes in, steals it. Diamond in trouble. He goes down. And then Darien's focus. He's trying to get on KottenX, but he simply can't chase on towards him. Has he got enough? The Pillar of Ice may just have got himself the kill. But I think Kerp's cooldown to back. He's going to get caught out with that stun. The damage is there, and Kerp gets another. It's a 4-0-1 for the mid laner, who's just found a brand new lease of life in the summer split.
KottenX is one of the primary reasons that Millennium are doing so very well. In all of the games that they've played, he's been instrumental in getting kills early, enforcing objectives. He just flash smite stole away a dragon that was looking safe and completely taken by Gambit. Not only that, but they lose the first tower as well. So Millennium are just growing further and further ahead.
I would argue that Genja really should have been there to help out there, because he was at the tri-bush, he took down the pink ward, and then didn't join them at Dragon.
Completely
didn't help them at the Dragon. The Dragon would have been gone down, there wouldn't have been a smite steal, there wouldn't have been any problems there, and it would have been a 3v2, but instead, 2v2 straight up. You've got a fed mid laner coming in. Thank you very much. All the kills are mine.
So that's the other thing, is you look at that scenario and you're like, okay, so why did Nick not follow Kerp down? Why wasn't he there? Also, I wasn't expecting KottenX to flash over the wall with an Evelynn. That's not a super common occurrence. But it's just, Millennium are just playing really confident. They believe in their teammates and their calls. Kerp was like, look, I can join there. Now Darien's in trouble.
Seconds out, round 2. Darien goes down once again. This time around, it will be Kevin and KottenX doing the damage, and Kevin will get himself a second on the board now that the Trinity Force is complete.
Now this is something that I like to see from teams. When you first pick a champion and you do well, Kerp's going to jump on Nick here.
Oh, he's going to get a poke across the side. The chain lands.
Wow.
Nick tries to turn it around, but does not land the stun.
How can you hit somebody that is more mobile than Neo? Kerp just dashed in there, dodged everything that was thrown down by Nick, and even got out of range of the Scatter the Weak. They're going to dive. This is a dead Nick.
So,
or not. I got too excited. There was a good flash.
My question is, why do you pick a Syndra into a very mobile champion like Kerp has, who gets another kill on the board?
I cannot answer that question, because Syndra was picked the following round. Leblanc was locked in.
I'll get Bergström on the phone, see if he's going to answer.
The thing is, like, the thing is, Syndra's going to offer you a lot in team fights. Syndra's going to offer you quite a lot. You have that scatter where you can combo multiple stuns, and if you are confident, I mean, maybe in solo queue, maybe Nick is beating Leblanc in solo queue, but Kerp is just landing everything, every time.
And I just want to draw everyone's attention. That's with a trackball.
Oh, it's sickening. Now, they want to tower dive in this bottom here. We do see Diamond. He's got his ultimate up and available. The isolation bonus is a longer range, and turrets count as friendly, so it's a little difficult.
Oh, Darien.
Diving Darien.
Oh, here we go. It's a 3-man this time. Who's going to take the glory? Kerp is once again. Teleport down the bottom. Here comes Kevin. And now Jree, Diamond, everybody's running away. Dark Binding does not land. And I think Gambit may disengage just in case.
So teleport blown by Kevin. He's not going to have that return back to his lane, but he does have a completed Trinity Force. And with the kill again on Darien, Kerp is actually going to get some pretty good damage in this top lane in a turret.
Mid lane turrets under pressure right now. Gambit going to try and get some beating back down on towards that one. They haven't got enough though, as the minion wave is there. Kevin's going to go in, blade surges onto the minion. Does not quite catch Diamond. And he will just sidestep that one. It's going to be another wave of minions picked up by Kevin.
Now, one of the other things that you notice is Kevin is roaming now. Now that he's got the Trinity Force, he's freed himself from dealing with Darien. Diamond's going to find KottenX at a level different. That's good damage.
That's good damage. Didn't fancy the fight there. Now he's got Jree and Kerp in support. They absolutely do. There's 4 members of Gambit nearby. 4 members of Millennium close. This blue buff is going to be contested, but Diamond's in trouble. Oh, Kerp doesn't quite manage to catch that chain.
That was very, very close. Had that connected and actually rooted, it probably would have killed Diamond once his stealth wore out. The Millennium have got a very strong lead, and they've got a very strong roaming pick comp. You know? If you have Evelynn, Irelia, and Leblanc jumping into targets, it's quite difficult to get away. It's quite difficult to not get blown up. So what Millennium are going to be looking to do is roaming around the jungle, finding solo targets, and then pushing towers.
I don't think he's quite got enough to take Darien down. Now, maybe I spoke too soon, who knows. He's going to keep on popping back and forward. Darien actually quite happy to walk away from that one with his life.
Yeah, very good mechanical display by Kerp. Using the Mimic and then Mimic Distortion. So jumping in and out. He made us think he was running away, and then he jumped back in with the Mimic Distortion and just really, really playing well. KottenX does have the Aghanim Embrace, so again, Jree needs to land the CC. If he does, there will be kills. If Jree does not connect, then I think Genja and Eduard with his Solar Flare should be enough time to get away.
That's 11-11 jungler nearby. Eddie and Genja have some problems here. Pink ward goes down, Jree will clear that coverage. You can see KottenX is sneaking around the backside of them. Genja will be the focus target. Dark Binding, will it land? Teleport comes in, they're going to turn straight back on towards this one actually. Instead they just throw a bunch of damage on the spot where Darien teleported from. Kerp was making his way down, Diamond heading him off.
I really like the smoke grenade from Creaton as well. That's going to just deny Darien vision. The teleport, yes, while it didn't help net any kills, it means Darien is available for the next Dragon team fight. They've stunned on Jree, they might try burst him down.
Well, they're going to try, but I'm not sure they've got enough. There's the ultimate coming out from Nick. Diamond tries to stealth himself up, but instead the rest of the team will turn this back around. Diamond tries to go on Jree, still yet to get the kill. Kevin instead turns that on his head, and now Eddie's in trouble. Kevin with the ultimate running. Kerp can't quite dash on towards Eddie. KottenX, he's in trouble right now. He's actually been separated. He's going to have to make a run for it. The tower damage isn't quite enough. It will. Genja picks himself up the kill.
Yeah, I got tagged by that Ardent Blaze, and it was just enough range to give him the kill. Gambit went in disjointed. They just went in one by one. Now they're going to look to re-engage. The Dark Binding is good. The Soul Shackles is available for Jree. Not going to need it. And he backs away. And if Gambit had been more focused in that engage, they maybe could have come out better. They end up trading 1-for-1, so it wasn't like it was terrible. But again, they just went in dribble grabs. Diamond was super aggressive. He ran through like 2 or 3 members of Millennium with his first charge of his stealth camouflage. And he sort of went, that's not really going to work out. You're not far enough ahead, or you don't have that ability to make those plays just yet.
Very mixed target focus as well, and more to the point, he didn't actually get the kill on Jree either. He went deep for it, trying to get that unseen threat proc, and then, well, it's not going to happen when he's amongst 4 members of his team. So, Millennium, 10-5 up. That was Genja picking himself up a turret for Gambit, but you can tell the tale of this game is very much in favour of Millennium, as they now have a 5,000 gold advantage stacking up their way.
Back-to-back Leblanc games and back-to-back games that are just phenomenal. Expecting in the previous one, Kerp this time around, slightly differing item builds, but what it does signal is Kerp can jump into the middle of a team fight, cause everyone to jump on him, then he can just hourglass up, and it allows the rest of Millennium to keep running amok. Then the moment Kerp comes back up, Gambit have to be so on point with who they are targeting and their changing targets once the team fights break out, that hourglass is just going to give them even more tools, even more opportunities to find kills and take Gambit down.
Kevin, who has been having some freedom, it's safe to say, 3-0-1. Warden's Mail now picked up along with that Trinity Force he had early on. He's actually not going overly confident because he's well aware of the position, and now he sees Diamond walking over the ward. He's going to completely give himself away.
Why would Kevin? He knows that if Darien keeps pushing, KottenX will come help. Yeah, Kevin probably could pick a fight, but he knows that Darien's been overextended multiple times.
Oh.
Kerp is looking for Genja, and we'll see if we can find him.
Run, Genja, run. You're going to get caught out here. Oh, dodges nicely, but he can see coming around the side. We're going to have straight towards a Dark Binding. The ultimate comes out from Jree. He's got no dashes left on this one, sadly. And it will be Jree with the kill.
Grab himself a nice one. Soul Shackles to open it up. The rest of Millennium looking for more. And similar story, just Gambit overextending. This time it was Genja that was way too far forward. Kevin is being dived. Pretty good dash though, back to the tower.
Oh, back dash. Left and right. He's going to get away from this one, I feel. Oh no, maybe not. The chomp from Darien. He should get the claws now, Diamond. Not quite there. He's going to finish him with the Void Spike.
Yeah, but at what cost? The rest of Millennium are on this top lane tower. They have a minion wave to work with. Kerp is responding, and he should find a target. Can he land the chains?
Danger, danger. Who is he going to go for? He's going to split and go for a field goal instead. Kerp not managing to find the target. They do take that top turret down, though. And that was a mid turret as well for Nick.
Okay, so trading towers back and forth. The inner top tower is obviously going to be more valuable than that mid-outer turret. But what it does mean is Gambit now have more room to invade if they want to go onto Millennium's bottom half of the map. With no outer turrets there, it gives Gambit the opportunity to push into Millennium's red buff or get some deep wards. The vision game, still heavily in favor of Millennium. If you look at how many blue wards are on that mini-map, Millennium are working with a lot of information. Unfortunately, they opted to make the play in the top lane, which exposed Kevin in the bottom lane. And because of the decision and their focus of trying to get Genja and maybe that top inner turret, it did obviously mean that Kevin went down. But it's not the end of the world. One kill. They still held on to their bottom inner turret as well.
So interestingly, despite Kerp's massive dominance in that mid lane, 6-0-2, he didn't go for DFG early on.
It is different, and I think it's just because of the playstyle. It's just, he wants to be able to survive. If he gets caught by Darien or Diamond or Genja, there's a lot of armor that the Hourglass will play into favor. And I also think what I really like is the disruption factor that it offers you. If you have Kerp going in maybe a little late or maybe even a little earlier, that item allows Irelia and Evelynn and Morgana to reposition and get themselves even in a better place. So it's a slightly different style, but I think it's going to play very well into how Millennium want to team fight by having very chaotic, very all-over-the-place champions, because Eve is very quick, you know? Irelia, same story. Look for the Solar Flare.
Oh, Solar Flare lands. KottenX is there, and they suddenly realize, oh, back out of that one. We're going to see a double teleport coming in. Where are you going to go, Darien? You've just landed in front of 3 members. This is going to be an easy kill picked up. Kevin this time around. Kerp comes around the back. Edge is in trouble. Tries to lock in. There is that Sonya's Hourglass. And that was a triple kill for Kevin.
And that is exactly why Kerp went for the Hourglass. Allows him to tower dive. Allows him to go in, mitigate the threat, mitigate the risk of going down. 3 kills for Kevin. 3 kills for Millennium in total, and they're going to grab most likely an inner turret. There's a minion wave behind them, and there's no ways Gambit can defend this.
You can see Diamond's waiting off on the side, but I don't think he wants to pounce in on this one. They're going to tank that turret down. Kevin's not really the one that wants to fancy tanking it, but it's another inner turret picked up. Diamond is waiting.
So that was brave. I think he wanted to try and defend the blue buff, or at the very least have information on when it went down. There is support from the rest of Gambit, but I think Kerp should get away from it.
Going for it. Can he get on towards him? Creaton is there as well, just backs away. Cool as a cucumber there, no problem.
Confidence from Creaton. Now, Kerp obviously had to flash to get out of range of Diamond. And that was just Millennium, I think, dawdling, the best way to say it. But again, 5th tower of the game to 2 of Gambit. Dragon's going to be respawning in 10 seconds. Gambit should secure this if they rush it, because it'll take a little while for Millennium to get there. But if they don't rush it down instantly, this could turn into a big fight. Actually, I think it probably will turn into a fight, because Gambit have not made a notion for the Dragon Pit and Millennium are making a beeline. They want to get in on that objective. Solar Flare is available. All ultimates are up with the exception of Agony's Embrace. So Millennium may want to stall for a few seconds.
Really got the damage, honestly. They're 10,000 gold behind. Eddie just gets destroyed where he stands. Did land a good Solar Flare before he died, but honestly, there was not a lot of damage on Gambit's part. They have to step away from this one. The Smite Steal comes in once again from KottenX, and Millennium happy to just transition in towards that mid lane and keep the pressure on Gambit.
Gambit again demonstrates an inability to call and communicate team
Kerp is
fights.
going.
Let's see who he's going to go for.
He's going to go for both. It doesn't matter. He's going to get on the Nick. Nick's in trouble. Soul Tackle's not quite enough. Kerp gets another. He's got like...
It's just phenomenal. Millennium are just individually outclassing Gambit in every single lane. Every single member of Millennium is doing a better job than that of Gambit, and as a team, their calling is superb. So they're going to be onto this inhibitor turret 20 seconds before Nick is up. They've got a very big minion wave to work with, and this is going to equate to a lot of damage.
Oh, Kerp's going for Genja, forces him away. That minion wave was cleared out pretty quickly. Diamond again, waiting off the side. He really wants to try and make a play here, try and catch somebody low hit points. Darian's do what he can to tank them and keep them away there. Diamond's still waiting off the side. He's got to be careful. There's no one low enough.
No, he can't get in there. He doesn't have the damage. This is a 2-4-2 Diamond with a Giant's Belt as his only tank stat. No, he's got a little bit of HP. And when you consider all of the items his opponents are dealing with, 12,000 gold lead, Gambit just need to find... They actually need to surprise Millennium. What Gambit need to do is stun somebody with a Syndra or a Leona, and then let Kha'Zix try to clean it up. But as long as Millennium stay relatively grouped, they've got a very good position. Unfortunately, Gambit have just fallen too far behind. They've let Kerp get so unstoppable.
Kerp is not going to go for it this time, but Kevin will. Distortion was already used. Kerp comes across.
Solar Flare whiffs.
Gets straight out of it.
Like Solar Flare whiffs, culling whiffs. Nick's Syndra has not done what he was hoping to do. He has not been able to blow anybody up. We've not seen any of those scatter the weak stuns that I was talking about. And what has also happened is Gambit fell behind individually in the lanes too early on. So even though their team may have the tools to have a better team fight in a straight-up 5v5, Millennium's not giving them that chance. Millennium's finding a kill, finding a pick. Go back to that dragon fight. Eduard was overextended. He was in front of his team. The rest of Gambit were on the dragon. Eduard got soloed out, zoned out, killed. And all of a sudden it's a 5v4 and Millennium can just run you down. This is something Millennium keep doing. They find a way to isolate a target, kill him, and then go for the rest.
Compare and contrast Nick's Syndra to the last one we saw, of course, which was an All-Stars, which was run by Shi Young, was simply immaculate, honestly. Diamond's going to jump away. Eddie's caught out once again. Collateral damage is going to be not. Paul didn't do enough on Eddie.
Not this time around, I'm afraid. But no execution element to that, so the lower Eduard's HP is doesn't make a difference, I'm afraid. Bloodthirster, as well as that Last Whisper, still doing work for Creaton, yet to die. Another very solid performance, and thanks to all the damage they put on Gambit, Gambit are looking to just go for a tower instead of contesting this Baron. They can't really win these team fights, and this is going to get risky. Look at that damage, that's a tank.
Well, he's not a tank anymore, he's a squishy target for Kerp. Kerp goes legendary, 8-0-4, Baron gets picked up, the rest of Gambit, they need to scatter, run like the wind. Instead, Nick's going to get caught out, Scatter the Weak doesn't stop Kerp in his tracks. He gets himself yet another double, 18-6 now for Millennium.
And the Baron, so they've got a kill lead, they've got a tower lead, now Diamond's going to die.
Oh, Kerp continues his rampage. Stealth is going to be enough. Tries to get away, he's going to show himself. KottenX is going to come around the side, will manage to land the ultimate, goes on towards him. Agony's embrace doesn't slow them down enough though, but it doesn't matter because look at the mid turret. Creaton is there.
Yeah, the rest of the team, another Dark Binding. Kerp jumping Genja.
It's just going deep on this one.
Summon a heal used.
Turret goes down, Summon a heal was indeed used by Genja to save the bacon there, but the inhibitor will fall. Millennium in full control.
So Gambit have looked, if you take the bigger picture, in all of the games thus far, have looked very, very, very sketchy in team fights. That is the one overarching theme. Yesterday, when Gambit were playing against SK Gaming, they had a very strong lead, a very strong performance, until they had to get through the inhibitor turrets, until SK Gaming forced them to make multiple 5v5 team fights. And in those situations, Nick struggled. He was playing Kale. He missed a few key interventions, was out of position a couple of times. The targeting, the communication wasn't there. What level of communication are these guys at? You know, the calling, the captainship, the leadership, like you've highlighted. Because there's a lot of problems for Gambit to work through.
Genja's half the hit points burst away from him.
Diamond's coming from behind.
Backs around there. Solar Flare lands. It's only caught Kerp out, but Zhonya's hourglass quickly mitigates all of that. Diamond comes in, stealthed up, and simply gets locked up on the wall. He has to pounce away to try and save his own life. Kevin's continuing to go deep. They're going to tank down the turret. Now they're catching on towards Darien. Kerp's coming in as well. That's going to be a chain leash. Not quite landing on them, but it's a second inhibitor nonetheless.
That Baron has been used very, very effectively, and this is one of the...
even the trackball,
even gods can mess up those jumps. But better for Kerp to mess up the jump over the wall than onto team. Look at the gold. 1,500, 1,500, 2,000, 2,000 down the board. Every single member of Millennium is 3,000 to 4,000 gold ahead of their opponents. So just from a statistics standpoint, this game is all but over. There are super minions in 2 lanes. Millennium are going to finish this off. But I think it goes all the way back to laning. KottenX had successful ganks. He got kills for his team. His team then continued to find kills themselves. And that's what it boils down to. Gambit have just been outclassed.
Yeah, Nick just got bullied out. KottenX, like you said, came around. Well, as soon as that flash was burst, Kerp basically had free roam in the mid lane. Absolutely dominated it. That led KottenX to just basically harass top and bottom and middle. We know Darien, he's going to get caught out now and again. But a 6-1-3 Irelia, it's a dangerous thing to stop. A 9-0-4 Leblanc, well, that's just unstoppable.
Yeah, and the other problem is, of course, that it wasn't only Darien that was caught overextended. Genja was caught out in the top lane as well. So all props to Millennium for catching them, for taking advantage, you know, being in the right place at the right time. But in the same token, Gambit really can't afford to be pushing past the safety zone. So look at the super minions in the mini-map. I apologize, I made you look at the mini-map and then there was a dead bug.
Single combination takes down Diamond. Well, once that starts happening, you know you're in trouble. Of course, they've just been back to spend all of that gold. Darien gets melted down by the rest of Millennium. That inhibitor turret will fall. They're going to run Gambit onto the fountain!
Wow.
Kerp now with so much damage, he can 3v1 them quite happily, distorting his way through the entire team. Final inhibitor falls, the Nexus turrets will follow, and Millennium in dominant form. They got 0 wins over Gambit in the spring split, but right here, they have looked impeccable with a fantastic victory, taking Gambit to 1-3 for the week, and it's a 3-1 Millennium topping the table so far in the European LCS.
Deserved, absolutely deserved. During our pregame, I said the one thing that I was still concerned about, is having no voice there.
Getting emotional.
Is that Millennium struggled to close games out. You know, we've seen it against the Super Hot Crew. They really did have a tough time. But today, against Gambit, they had a monumental lead. Got Baron, got Towers, Tower Dog. It was just, they were fantastic. And this is a team that everybody that watches the European LCS needs to keep on their radar, because if this is the level they're playing at, everyone else has to pick up their game.
Absolutely, some big numbers for you. 6-1-4 for Kevin in that top lane. 10-0-5 for Kerp in that mid lane on that LeBlanc. 2-0-5 this time. Creaton didn't need to carry his team. Everybody else was doing the right job in the right place at the right time.
What I absolutely love about this game is that KottenX on his Evelynn, it was a first pick. There were options available. And we said, what can he do with the pressure? Gambit gave them straight up lanes. They were in 2v2s, 1v1s, which immediately just opened so many doors for an Evelynn. Because Evelynn can opt to pick which lane she wants to go to, she didn't have to deal with the lane swap, didn't have to deal with tower pushes. It just meant, well, Darien might get overextended at some point. He did. They killed him.
Yeah.
Burned his flash. Rinse and repeat. Similar situation in the bottom lane. Eduard and Genja were playing quite aggressive, quite in the face of Creaton and Jree. And KottenX came from behind, multiple ganks over and over. KottenX really set up that early game very well, and then it was closed by the rest of the team.
Well, the big one for me is, of course, Nick counter-picking Syndra into the LeBlanc, and again, 0-5-1 up against the 10-0-5. That's not good numbers.
It's really not, and it did nothing. I mean, we caught on screen one ultimate onto Jree that didn't even kill him.
Yeah. Didn't kill the support. That's a problem.
That ultimate and the damage into Jree then baited Diamond to run in solo. Not only individually did Gambit's members struggle, but as a team, their calling was also very off. The team fights, Dragon engages, went in drips and drabs. At one point, Gambit was starting a Dragon. Eduard tried to peel for them, which was probably the right thing to do. But the rest of Gambit peeled off Dragon. The rest of Gambit moved away. It was only Darien that was still on it. So it was like, there is a very clear misalignment in the direction the team should be going in terms of when those objectives are on the table.
So where do we see them stacking up? Millennium, of course, 3-1 top in the table. Can they go all the way?
It's way too early to tell, but from week 1, Millennium and Alliance...
4 games in, it's looking good.
End of week 1, Millennium and Alliance are no doubt the strongest teams in the European LCS. That's simple.
Shox and Deficio are ready to talk to Millennium's Kevin after his 6-1-4 performance and Millennium's win.
Thank you very much, D-Man. Congratulations is in order, I think. So 3-1 here over the course of the Super Weekend, just looking incredibly impressive. I'm just going to let you talk about this game very briefly because it was a very, very decisive victory for you guys.
Yeah, so first of all, we wanted to ban Kaylee. We hate the champion, and we kind of don't want to play against the champion because, as you maybe noticed, Kerp is kind of assassin player, so Kaylee is kind of, yeah, is the counter to that. So yeah, from that, we picked what we wanted to. We talked about that before, and we went into that really confident with our picks. Yeah, in the game, everything worked kind of our plan. We forced the 1v1 and the 2v2. We got a fed Kerp, and that's always basically, you can tell him whatever in game, but he will do his own stuff and he will keep people then if he's fed. So after that, it was pretty easily. We had a small time where we kind of didn't know again what to do, so we have to work on that as well still. But overall, we are pretty confident and happy about our performance here.
And what on earth is going on here? What is the difference between Millennium now and the last split where nothing seemed to work for you guys?
So yeah, last split, first of all, the first weeks for us were really bad because, not mainly, but of course was a part that we didn't have the house. We had to move around Cologne and travel around here. And yeah, I don't know, we basically practiced not really good. We maybe didn't have the correct partners to scrim against. I think that's a really important factor, and maybe people were not motivated, Creaton, as he said himself, so it's hard to actually perform really good when people are not motivated. What changed to now is basically we are scrimming good teams, for example, Alliance a lot, so maybe our playstyles and our pick and bans and picks especially are similar.
Irelia was there. So.
Exactly. And yeah, especially yesterday we had the same comp as Alliance versus Copenhagen. Sadly, we couldn't play it like them, but yeah.
You talk about play style and you talk about the entire team, but you personally seem a lot more aggressive yesterday with that Shyvana going in. Have you noticed a shift in your own play style and the way you look at the game as well?
So yeah, of course, when the team is confident, I feel as well more confident. I'm normally an aggressive player, but if the team isn't like at the same point in the game, like at the same level or something, then I'm kind of a bit of passive too, sadly. But right now I'm just like pulling out myself, and I'm playing how I used to play, and I love it.
And who's actually making the calls now on Millennium? And I actually want to hear, before the game, who makes the strategies, and then in the game, who actually makes the calls?
So before, we all kind of sit together, and we do it by ourselves. We don't have an analyst yet. We're still looking for one, because he has to match the players and the persons individually as well. So it's kind of hard a bit to find something for us. But we keep looking, and I think will help us a lot. But yeah, pick and bans, we do it. Calls, I actually try a lot to do early. I try to do calls early game, and I think it works out okay, good.
It looks pretty good now.
Yeah. So, but overall, we all do the calls. We all, if one person is kind of wrong, we will say that and just say, like, for example, I'm wrong. So Kerp will say, no, don't do it. We do this, and everyone is just following. So I think in that point we kind of do it really good right now. So I'm happy.
Yeah, very impressive performance from Millennium across the board. Always nice to hear from you, and always nice to hear from the people at home as well. And we've been checking out your answers on Twitter, where earlier today we asked you which European LCS player will be your MVP for Super Week and why. And here are just a few of your selections. First one is from @HybridIX. Definitely, it must be Jess's. He has really stepped up compared to the last season. That Kale yesterday was just epic. You guys hate Kale, and Jess's is very good at it.
It's very good. He said on Twitter himself, actually, he really likes the new attack speed build with Hurricane. in because it reminds him of playing an AD carry, which he used to do before he joined SK. And in general, he looks confident. His laning phase is getting better. And the best thing for me is the fact that in the last split, it was Kha'Zix and Nidalee, like every single game whenever SK was winning. Now he's actually expanding the champion pool, and he's still winning with it. Yep,
very nice to see. The second one is from @Mega Creaton. His mechanics are amazing right now. If he keeps this up, he is going to carry Millennium this split, and he has had a really great showing already, Kevin.
Yeah, so his motivation is up again. He's playing 10 hours a day, and that's what I like about him. Like, when he's passionate about the game, he'll perform awesome, and we'll be the king on the field. So I hope he keeps the motivation. We will, as a team, try everything to keep his motivation up as well, because he's such an important factor for the team in-game, but outside of the game as well.
Talking about important factors in the game, the last tweet is from @BLBanterFanter. Kerp for MVP, the fish, the bombs, the fantasy points, the plays. Absolutely.
Yeah, so Kerp is kind of a mysterium. I think everyone kind of sees that, but if he's rolling in game and if he gets 1-2 kills, he will just snowball, and yeah, like he will just destroy the enemy team if he gets the chance to, as we just saw here. Yeah, Kerp, mysterium, but a beast.
And you can really see this is now his second split as a mid laner. Last split, he went from top lane down to mid lane. Still needed to practice a little bit. Now he just looks absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely, the entire team, actually. And you guys at home, thank you for sending those to us. And remember, you can find us at LOL Esports, and be sure to use that LCS hashtag to join the conversation. It's time for us to take a quick break, but be ready to flash back because we're just moments away from Roccat versus Fnatic.
Here comes Kerp.
Not a done deal yet. KottenX comes in, steals it. Diamond in trouble. He goes down. We're going to see a double teleport coming in. Where are you going to go, Darien? You've just landed in front of 3 members. This is going to be an easy kill picked up. Kevin this time around. Kerp comes around the back. Genja's in trouble. Tries to lock in. There is that Sonya's hourglass. And that was a triple kill for Kevin.